I recently encountered a puzzling yet intriguing problem at home. A continuously running toilet that had so stealthily transformed into a significant drain on resources. The issue was not merely a trivial annoyance. It manifested as a measurable inefficiency seen in my elevated water bills. As someone who has always enjoyed dissecting technical problems and delving into data-driven evaluations, I found myself at the crossroads. I started by questioning the mechanics behind the malfunction. Was the persistent flow an indication of component fatigue, a seal failure, or perhaps a subtle misalignment in the valve system? The challenge was both quantitative and qualitative, urging me to review system performance metrics and acoustic signatures that might pinpoint the exact failure. In this narrative, I outline my journey through the rigorous process of diagnosing this household conundrum with advanced technical insights, evaluating hydraulic forces, fluid dynamics, and wear patterns of critical components. My aim is to share a detailed, numbers-driven exploration that leaves no stone unturned, allowing fellow enthusiasts and experts to appreciate the blend of theoretical analysis and practical troubleshooting. Delving into the heart of the issue, I began by scrutinizing the underlying mechanics of a toilet's operation. In a typical system, a precisely calibrated balance between water inflow and outflow ensures each flush operates optimally. However, I noticed that even a minute imbalance, such as a marginal discrepancy in the flush valve sealing curve or a degradation in the polymer lining, could set off a chain reaction. The constant gurgle of water revealed that the flapper or the fill valve might have succumbed to prolonged wear, leading to continuous water flow. I analyzed water meter data and confirmed a substantial increase in consumption, identifying a leak rate that was both insidious and measurable. Quantitative measurements, including pressure drop tests and flow rate analysis, clearly indicated a malfunction. This running condition, even at a low decibel level, was enough to trigger deep concerns about long-term water waste, as well as escalating utility costs. I mapped out the internal structure of the tank, highlighting the interplay between the ball cock mechanism and the overflow tube. Through a systematic evaluation, I computed the potential statistical reduction in water efficiency and began to formulate remedial strategies. By correlating the observed symptoms with technical failure modes documented in industry research, I transformed the everyday observation into an expert-level analysis, one that underscored the necessity of early intervention to prevent further degradation of the system's integrity. As I transitioned to diagnosing the issue, I adopted a methodical approach tailored for those who appreciate granular technical detail. My first step was a simple yet effective test, placing a few drops of food coloring into the toilet tank. Within minutes, I observed the subtle seepage of colored water into the bowl, a definitive indicator of a compromised flapper seal. Yet, I did not stop there. I measured the tank's water level before and after a set period, noting an inexplicable and gradual decline that could only be attributed to leakage. My diagnostic routine further involved a close inspection of the fill valve assembly. By examining pressure readings and the responsiveness of the ball cock mechanism, I could pinpoint inconsistencies in performance that correlated with the leak. Using a combination of acoustic analysis tools and thermal imaging, I confirmed that microfractures in the seal were the culprits behind the steady drain. The persistent hum was no longer a benign background noise, but a quantifiable symptom of a deteriorating component. I also cross-referenced my observations with technical data sheets from manufacturers to verify that the wear patterns on the flapper and valve components were consistent with long-term mechanical fatigue. Facing the decision between repair and replacement, I embarked on an in-depth cost-benefit analysis that combined both experiential data and technical specifications. The first pillar of my evaluation was to determine the extent of the wear and tear sustained by the current unit. I measured the degree of degradation in the flapper's elasticity, the onset of micro-cracking in the valve seats, and the overall efficiency loss in water delivery. Detailed diagnostics revealed that while some components could indeed be restored through repair, others had reached a state of irreversible deterioration. I computed the potential savings from a simple repair, factoring in both the reduced water wastage after intervention and the immediate cost of replacement parts against the likely longevity of the fix. However, I also had to consider technological advancements present in modern toilets. Newer units incorporate water-saving mechanisms and more robust materials, which, when coupled with improved design tolerances verified through field data, could ultimately lower long-term operational costs despite the higher upfront investment. I also consulted technical papers and industry benchmarks that discussed failure rates, mean time between failures (MTBF), and cost per unit of service life. This quantitative analysis revealed that while a repair might be economically justifiable in the short term, an upgrade could provide enhanced efficiency and durability for those who prefer to preempt recurring failures. With a clear understanding of the problem at hand and the metrics driving the repair versus replace debate, I turned my attention to the decision between a do-it-yourself repair and enlisting a licensed professional. My deep dive into repair manuals and technical schematics provided the insight needed to assess the feasibility of a DIY fix. I reviewed the detailed instructions for component replacement, examining the precise torque requirements for installing a new fill valve and the calibrated adjustments necessary for the flapper mechanism. On paper, the task appeared manageable. The technical specifications were well documented, and online engineering forums provided additional troubleshooting data. However, balancing the complex variables, such as the interplay of water pressure fluctuations, system compatibility, and the risk of inadvertently compromising seal integrity, made me appreciate the value of a licensed plumber's expertise. A professional would not only have access to specialized diagnostic tools, including flow meters and thermal sensors, but also bring years of field experience in interpreting subtle acoustic or vibrational cues that indicate deeper system issues. In summary, the journey from identifying a running toilet to weighing repair against replacement underscored several key principles: the importance of precise diagnosis using both simple tests and advanced instrumentation, the critical need for data-driven assessments of component wear, and the delicate balance between cost, longevity, and technological upgrades.